Okay, so my name is James Ordway. I have a Master of Science in Statistics from UNH, and I worked with Stephanie Ciccarello and the town of Amherst, Massachusetts, on their carbon accounting update and report for 2025. So the town of Amherst has a number of emissions reduction goals in the coming years and decades. So their ultimate goal is to be carbon neutral by 2050, with intermediary goals in 2030 of reducing emissions by 50% and reducing by 25% by 2025 this past year, all relative to their 2016 baseline. Um, and so basically my project was to evaluate their progress toward these goals in 2025, look at historical emission trends, um, and make some predictions or do some basic forecasting as to their progress toward their future emission goals. And so there were two main deliverables for this report. First was obviously the report itself. Second was an update to the existing methodology. Um, so I'll start with the methodology first. So this report has been run two times in the past in 2016 and 2022. Uh, Both of those reports were done with exclusively in Excel. At least the data side was exclusively in Excel. And the existing document is this 200 sheet workbook that is uh, really just a process that pushes Excel beyond its reasonable use case, to be honest. So, they had one giant workbook that was functioning as a database, a data cleaning tool, a data entry tool, uh, modeling, visualization. It was doing everything in one place. And Excel just isn't really built for that. So it got very, very complicated. I mean, when I first saw it, it took me a long time to just figure out like what I was working with. And so I spent the first uh, chunk, maybe almost half of this fellowship, just going through that document and migrating everything into a new workflow. Um, and so I kept Excel for only for data entry because that is what Excel is best for. I did all of the cleaning and analysis in R. So R is a statistical programming language that's built for data analysis. And so I took all those clean data sets from Excel, I pulled them into R, I did all of the cleaning, modeling, analysis, that sort of thing. And then I wrote the report in a Cordo document, which is a reporting tool that allows you to embed code into the report itself. And so basically, there are a lot of benefits to having a process like this one, especially in comparison to the existing workflow. And the main thing is that it's much more reproducible. So all that the next person who wants to run this report needs to do really is uh, gather the new data and input it into those like clean um, Excel documents, and then it should be a relatively easy task to just rerun all of the code that I've written already, and that'll give like updated figures with the new data, and most of this is going to be like plug and play for the next person. Um, so hopefully, it'll save a lot of time for the next update. And not to mention that R Studio or R and Cordo are really powerful reporting tools that can just do things that Excel doesn't really have. So next, I'll just go over some of the results from the report itself. So the headline for the municipality. So first I'll talk about the municipal emissions, and then I'll talk about the broader community. The headline is that the town of Amherst has reduced their municipal emissions by about 17% since 2016, which actually falls short of their goal of a 25% reduction by 2025. Um, There is more to this the story, I suppose. So if you look at this graph that I have on the screen, uh, there are three lines. The red dotted line is that just shows the goals that the town set. So if you look at 2050, it set zero emissions because that is their goal. The black uh, dots and black lines, those represent the observed emissions for the municipality. So you can see that they've decreased over time. Um, and then there's this blue line. Um, the blue line, it's just a regression line, so it's the line of best fit through those points um, that are observed already, uh, with drops for major construction projects that are underway. So you can see called out like the Amethyst Brook Elementary School construction. That's a big project that's being finished this year, actually, that will replace two elementary schools in the town. And it's a net zero emission building. So that will, be responsible for a significant drop in emissions, as well as the town library is being renovated into a net zero facility as well. So both of these will account for pretty significant reductions. So, it basically, even though the town is only reduced by about 17%, these projects, once they're completed, will, be responsible for big reductions and bring the town much closer to its goals. Um, so that's kind of a good, a positive note. Um, that said, the municipality is only a very small part of the broader community of emissions. So the municipality, it only accounts for, 1.5% on average. Um, so yeah, and here's the community inventory. If you can see this like really small blue sliver, that is the municipal emissions, uh, which again, it's around like 1.5%. Um, Amherst is a pretty unique situation because it's a college town. Um, so a lot of, more than half of the community emissions come from colleges. So UMass is the biggest culprit, as well as Amherst and um, Hampshire College, although Hampshire is closing. Um, but the community only reduced emissions by 13% since 2016, so that's, half of what the target of 25% by 2025. So it's a bit less of a positive note, I suppose. Um, that said, there are a lot of projects underway, especially by UMass, that aren't reflected in this data yet. I know they've had three like really major construction projects that are either ongoing or near completion. They're finishing building this giant like geothermal facility. They're building a sustainable. I think it's a new engineering building, if I'm not mistaken, and they have some other projects as well. So I think in recent years there's some reason to believe that uh, emissions will drop pretty significantly. But um, I think the broader point here is that as much as it's natural to kind of turn to government to uh, handle problems like emissions reductions, it really is a community-wide effort. And yeah, I guess for to achieve any kind of meaningful progress, it really has to be a broad effort by many different people. Um, so yeah, that's about all I'm going to share from my report. So yeah, again, my name is James. I'm, I guess I'll say thank you to my advisors, to Stephanie, who has been great all summer. And yeah, thank you for listening to my presentation.